Are you a composer looking for a creative way to change things up from major to minor? Or are you a songwriter looking for that next hit progression? We're going to show you an easy way to not only modulate from major to relative minor, but do so using chromaticism. Let's get started. This video is going to be broken up into 3 major parts. The first will be explaining what the term relative minor means, the second being how to get from any given major key to its relative minor using a secondary dominant, and the third and most important part is how to lead this not only smoothly, but use chromaticism in doing so. We'll explain everything, so be sure to stay tuned. So, you're writing something in major. It sounds good, but you're ready for a change to something different. You don't want it to have that major feel, so the subdominant and dominant are out of the question. You then think to yourself, why not write something in minor? Well, the most common minor key to move to from major is the relative minor. The term relative means that they have the same key signature, but start on a different tonic pitch. When looking at the major scale, the relative minor of the key falls on the 6th scale degree, or the submediant. So the relative minor of C major, for example, is A minor. The natural A minor scale, shown below, has no flats or sharps, just like the C major scale. So now that we're familiar with what relative minor is, how do we move to it? There's a lot of ways to achieve this, one of which being a deceptive cadence, which is a 5/6 progression. But today we're going to talk about the Chromatic Secondary Dominant. Now, what is a secondary dominant? A secondary dominant is simply the dominant of the chord we want to move to, but in a new context. So let's take B flat major for example. If we wanted to get to the relative minor of this key, we'd be moving to G. The bridge that will take us from B flat major to G minor will be the dominant of G, which is D. However, it's not as simple as copy and pasting a D minor chord and calling it a day. In conventional music theory, D minor, the median, serves a much different purpose in B flat major. So to give this dominant chord its necessary leading tone quality, we need to raise the third to make a D chord major. This gives the D chord the tension that requires the G minor resolution. This chord would no longer be notated as a 3 chord, rather a major 5 of 6, like this. And lastly, for the most important step of all, here's my take on how to lead this chromatically and with strength in all of the voices. So I quickly wrote out the 4-voice harmonization for these chords, and what you can see in the bass line is a cadential 6/4 type of movement, moving down the octave from the D in inversion to a strong D in root, which then moves to G. The other lines then move in scalar thirds downwardly, and the chromaticism then appears in the soprano voice. The F of the B flat major chord moves to the F sharp of the D major chord, which then must lead into the new tonic pitch G.
Thank you so much for tuning in, and if you've learned anything today, be sure to hit subscribe and tap on that bell icon for more music theory and composition tips in the future. Until then, I'll see you next time.